Good
Well, hello, folks. I'm Joe Wesley.
morning, folks. Lizzy Gabor here.
For
Happy
those of
holidays.
you, before we get into the program directly, we're almost on time. We start a little bit early to give you some background exposure to us. Lizzie loves the art of playing music or having music played, set the theme. Happy holidays to everybody, by the way.
Happy holidays.
And for those of you who are seeing us for the first time, thank you for joining us. For those who are coming back, thank you even more for coming back to us, having known what we're about. And that being said, for those of you who aren't quite to looking at us at 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time, that you can see us on the reruns, as I call it, that on your LinkedIn, on your YouTube, on your Facebook accounts. You can look at us any time of the day. Please leave comment in either instance because we do audit, we do get back to you. If you're looking at us through YouTube or Google, same thing, you have to sign in to leave a comment. That being said, please remember to subscribe, to share us with other people, to ask questions because we really want to be relevant. This holiday season, now, by the way, rules of the road here, Lizzie and I do not discuss or predetermine other than topic what we're talking about. So if there's any mishaps, you're getting it hot off the press in terms of lifestyle here. That being said, we're
Keeping it
using this.
real, right? We're keeping
Pardon?
it real. We're keeping it real.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Now, for those who are new to us, the theme here is I am a left brain kind of guy. I'm proud of it. I'm good at it. I'm a business owner. Lizzie's one of those right brain people that, oh, I'm not saying it's not good to feel good, but you use emotions. Maybe it's a male thing, maybe it's a left brain logic and reasoning thing. I don't know. But she's recognized in her industry as a certified wellness coach. Am I getting that correct? We've only been at
Success
this
transformational coach, yoga and meditation instructor.
fair enough. See, it's been a year and I still don't know what she's doing. So thank
I'm
you.
basically on the front lines for human transformation, is what I
Fair enough.
say.
Thank you for piping it out. None of that makes any sense to me, but she does say things like success and wellness and healthy. Those things kind of click. So we're here for me to try to understand these things. So we choose topic. And this time of the year, our topic is we're talking about expectations. And I'm looking at my notes because, again, like I said, I have to read through this stuff. Certainly, this time of the year, if you're watching TV, you're talking to friends, a lot of the stuff that's going down, and I was talking about nostalgia as we're finishing out 2021, going into 2022. We're talking about this sense of looking at warm pictures of families being together and enjoying time together. We're looking at people celebrating, talking about putting the lights up. New York, the thing that goes up the spiral, and everybody, you see fireworks around the world if you need to follow the clock on an hourly basis. But you also, with all of the nostalgia, the warmth, and the celebration, you also get pockets of people who feel left out, who feel isolated, who feel despair. And is this natural? Should we settle for it? Can we make it better? Can we control it? Now, to me, it's confusing because this is the time of the year I eat. I loved it. I liked eating anyway, and my favorite foods are this time of the year. So, in despair, I will tell you honestly, I have lost a notch at least on my belt, but I'm proud of it. So, where are we on this? Help us out, Lizzie.
Again, it's an attitude. I mean, I always say to people like joy is attitudinal, it's not situational. So if you're having fun eating that food, and you have an attitude of joy about it, have fun with it. And with the despair, what you were introducing, I mean, I think there's joy, and there is that perfect picture that's
Mm.
bombarded down our throats all over the media, everywhere
Mm-hmm.
we turn, every store we go in, about what this perfect holiday season should look like.
Mm-hmm.
And especially this year and last year, things, we had to shift a lot of that. But there's joy and there's despair and there's also everything in between. There's moments of joy, there's moments of despair, there's feeling joy, in one setting and then going to another setting and feeling just a sense of despair. There's uh, memories attached to these holidays. I mean, for my family, for my husband, AB lost his father on New Year's
Mm.
Eve. I mean, it was 20 years ago, but I thought in that moment, like he just decided he didn't want to celebrate New Year's in the same way that we always did. I mean, were very blessed that we were able to go on a trip. So we
Mm-hmm.
started going to Jamaica for New Year's and Christmas, and because it's much more low key there, they don't make this whole big thing. It's it's like 12 o'clock goes and everybody goes to bed,
Mm-hmm.
and we turned this really awful loss in our family into creating memories that we have now with our kids, that have been things that they'll never forget, and nor will we. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's about um, reframing maybe something that holiday that didn't go so well, or maybe you got ghosted on New Year's. I have friends that happened to, and they will relive that every year. And it's just it's about wanting something to change or waiting for that other shoe to drop, whereas instead setting yourself up for the best possible outcome. Maybe if you are alone, Skype, Skype, I was going to say Zoom with your family, connect in other ways with people that that you may not be able to be with physically.
Mm-hmm.
So be creative a little bit more this holiday season.
Okay, I hear that, and actually, she actually for the first time since you've been doing this, I always like to pounce her on her for questions or counterpoint because she makes things sound so easy, and when she made a comment a few moments before about embrace and to move forward, I always say it's like turning on a light switch. But you gave a good example, and I say that's not so readily a part of who I am. Which it's a dark room. Where do I find the switch? But you talk about, for example, you do feel alone to call family. Now, there are admittedly people who don't know perhaps who their parents are or their families have passed on perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what I'm asking is these things are a part of our lives, like it or not. I like the fact you talk about the alleged perfect nature. I call it the Gerber baby commercial. I've got nothing against Gerber, but no, babies aren't always smiling, oogling. Certainly any mother will tell you
Oh,
that. But
it is
that's
still the biggest bunch of baloney that that they tell you about the joys of the beauty of being a new parent.
it's parenthood and parenting and having children is a beautiful concept, but
Yes.
there's work that goes with it. And I think what Lizzy pointed out is that sometimes our despair is because we have a greener pasture syndrome, I call it.
Mhm.
That because we're not a part of that idyllic setting, that somehow there's something wrong with us. Do people sometimes run into that? And if so, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, absolutely. They do. There's that FOMO, fear of missing out and feeling like you're not included. And sometimes you might not be included, and that is hurtful, and there is disappointment in that for sure. Um, but again, I think if we can think about it, really think about what is it that we want to be doing. We have to be proactive in what we want to be doing. So if we're not invited to this one thing, look for something else that maybe that you want to do, and go out and do that. And what I was going to say is, you know honor your preferences.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like really honor what you prefer. You might this is not exactly addressing your question, but like you might not be somebody who wants to go to the all night, New Year's Eve party. Honor that, and it's not like saying that you're not the fun one, or you're not, honor what you prefer, and it's not about hurting or criticizing what someone else does. But I think if you kind of frame it in that way of like, I prefer this. I prefer not to stay out till this late. I prefer to stay home on the holidays. I prefer to not be around people right now because of what's going on in the world. I think that uh, it's received better by maybe those around you and your family. So I didn't really answer your question,
Mm-hmm.
but what you were saying. It's again, it's that overthinking is what you're talking about. Overthinking that, self criticism and self like I'm not included. I must not be good enough. All those things that really are just again, that overthinking of who knows where that came from. Ask yourself, is it true? Is this helpful? Is this kind to myself? And the answer is no, usually. And then really try to, again, redirect, reframe, choose again.
Mm-hmm. It brings to mind a scenario back in the day we actually had physical meetings with each other for business purposes. Maybe I finished a late breakfast meeting, a late morning meeting, and I'm going to have breakfast before or lunch before I start back to my office. So I'll walk in the area restaurant, and the person who is at the door will say to me, "Only one?" And I'll say, "No, one more than you had 3 minutes ago." So I'm never at only one. I am, again, one more value than of income, of tip to the waitress that you didn't have 3 minutes ago. So I guess it is kind of a mindset. So I'm still the
Yeah,
same person, but it's how I choose to respond. You say not respond to the moment because I did rehearse this after the first few times flustered. Well, no, I'm with those two people over there trying to explain myself coming in the door, right?
I mean, I remember when I started just like going out by myself and going to the movies by myself and going, and at first it was uncomfortable, but then it was like, oh, you know what? I don't have to worry about what this person where they want to go. I don't have to worry about where what movie if they're gonna like it because I do tend to worry if I'm taking somebody to a movie or a restaurant, do they like it? Yeah, it's really I got myself, and so again, it's reframing and not letting other people's uh, stories or expectations of what it should look like, that you shouldn't be going to eat by yourself, to and enter into your frame of consciousness in any for any longer than a second, or as long as it as long as you let it just go move through you.
Now,
And
now, now I have to admit that actually sounds good to me,
mhm.
and I tend to agree with it intellectually. But what Lizzie and I have decided to do, and we've been at this now. This is our 56th version of it.
Yeah, 57 I think.
57, I lose track, and the
Mhm.
concept being that we want to make it more than what it is for you guys. Now, we just got through talking about it's for me, but it's also for you too. So here's where I get confused. We'll talk more about that the month of January starting out. So what's going to be our topic for January?
We're going to talk about expectations,
Okay.
about personal expectations, about societal expectations, familial expectations, and what to do with them. And
Right.
really, I think that the antidote is boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Again, boundaries. Again, mindfulness is really helpful in managing that, shifting your
So she says it's
expectation
helpful.
that you impose on yourself, because really focus your mind on the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you're in, allow yourself to live fully and freely in that moment, and work to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, but step by step, here and now. So I think we're going to talk a lot about that, and
Yeah.
because I
Now,
think the January, I'm sorry, but January is a time where there is New Year's resolutions, New
sure.
Year, and we all get a lot of times very, very high expectations about what we want to accomplish, and then a lot of times it goes
Right.
very quickly, and we want to try to help people avoid that and find some middle ground that's going to make them feel good.
Sure. Now, part of that comes back to a theme that Lizzie had chosen on for this particular month in part was overthinking, underthinking. And I think that ties into to expectations. Lizzie spent more than 3 seconds talking about what we want to do for next year for you guys, for ourselves also. Are
Mhm.
we overthinking? Are we underthinking of expectations? How does one draw the line? And so part of our over expectation or overthinking is we want to make micro series that we don't jump from topic to topic each time we come online. We want to provide you a sense of what the topic will be for January, resolutions, expectations, over under thinking, to give you a chance to phrase your questions, bring your friends on board to listen and be a part of the dialogue also. So as we're moving forward, our program is growing as we're getting feedback to make it more meaningful for you. Now that may work against don't do what other people think, do what we think, but realistically we are part of the same family to varying degrees of our society. So
Yeah,
the
I think it's really about where we're trying to, what I say, plan tomorrow, today, every day, because I think what that is not overthinking, planning, and really trying to come together to be as best value to our audience, and bring and support the audience is something that's our intention. That's why we're doing this. So I don't think that's an overthinking. It can
Well,
be. We can overthink that.
that's where I'm confused, though. How does one draw that line? How does one make a determination?
Well,
That
I think
I'm going to make one more point.
yeah.
That again, Lizzy admits to this. My wife admits to this. I'm a guy. So before we walk out to the event we're going to, are my are my eyebrows linear or equal or the same? And I'm thinking, really? I got one little hair over there. She's looking at me like I'm a moron because I just don't get it. I'm underthinking. I'm convinced she's overthinking. So this is what we're going to be talking about. How does one draw the line in that manner? That
Yes,
makes sense.
it is a fine line, and I think it's again we're going to talk about decisions. Like you got to make a decision, and we may be off course, but we won't know that until we're on a course, and then
Okay.
we can always steer back. On course, off course. And we will hopefully get clues from the audience as to whether we are on course, and we hope to hear from you so that we can, if we are going off, steer back on to be a best
Please sign in. I really need your help. This lady, she's good at what she does. I need all the help I can get. So please sign on and give your comments.
And now the last thing I would say is just again, gratitude. Practice gratitude during this stressful time for a lot of us. Be grateful that you wake up and your eyes open and you can turn on that light switch and see. So gratitude can also be really helpful during this time of despair versus joy. Just be grateful for all the things that we have. Water coming out of our spouts. Millions of people around the world will never have that experience. So just
Wish you healthy and prosperous. I'll see you next year.
all right. Happy and healthy, everybody.